For me, home has always been Maine. And not just Maine, but the Maine coast, the rocky beaches. I'm from Booth Bay Harbor, so it's about the ocean point, is really what I think of when I think of home. And I think of the entire point and like the walks around it and being able to trace that landscape with my finger when I'm sleeping. It's the waves when it's high tide. It's the mud when it's low tide. It's knowing those rocks so well. And when I think about homecoming, I think about the times that I've been away from the Maine coast for a long time, and I remember it. And and this is gonna sound really weird, but when I think about homecoming, I also think about the movie Return to Oz, which I was actually never able to get through because I just find it the most scary, terrifying movie in the entire world. But just that sense of a place that I've been, a place that I love, that's just utterly, totally different than I would remember it when I come back to it.
Homecoming to me is a process. It's continuous and ongoing. It's the process of coming into and back to yourself, of becoming yourself again and again, because we're always learning, growing, and becoming. And it's about continually finding yourself in all that is around you and finding your place within all that is around you as the world changes and grows. It is truth, honesty, authenticity, integrity, respect, humility, compassion, and love in who you are and what you do, and in your relationship with all the life around you. Homecoming is being, it is love. It's authenticity and vulnerability, feeling safe, nurtured, welcomed, wanted, and loved.
For me, home are my three sisters. As kids, we moved around a lot. Yes, you guessed it. My dad was a research chemist. So my three sisters were my constant, my North Star, my home. We were in this together, another new place, facing this adventure with our heads held high, once again, the new kids in school.
What does home mean to me? I grew up in Brooklyn in the mid 70s, and that Brooklyn is no longer. The Brooklyn I grew up in was middle class, and folks who lived there aspired to live in Manhattan. Now, Brooklyn is an artisanal label. I can't call Brooklyn my home because so much has changed that it's not the same place anymore. Is Portland my home? I guess for now, but I have a feeling I'll float to a new place in due course. I think I'll always be searching for that home that I once had. I once heard Suzanne Vega say home is the place you have your most intense memories. So I guess Brooklyn is home? I think home for me is best described by the Portuguese word saudade, a longing for something or someone that you love that is lost and may never return. It's a mixture of happiness and sadness, memories mingled with the knowledge that this can never be again, or perhaps never even was. Portuguese writer Manuel de Mello offers this definition: a pleasure you suffer, an ailment you enjoy. I like that. That is my home.
Have you ever heard of Ralph Vaughan Williams' song, Vagabond? In it, Williams dreams of traveling the world. As a young man, this song captured my imagination. It sparked an endless desire in me to trade my bourgeois world for a life of bohemian adventure. My parents even encouraged it. I was raised to believe that a life that succumbs to inertia was a life wasted. So I chased my dreams. The first chance I got, I immediately attempted to move as far away from home as possible. Not that I had a terrible childhood, I didn't. My folks always made sure I lived comfortably and had all I needed. But I needed that, damn it to all, novelty, independence, and adventure that Vaughn wrote about. I didn't need a home, I would live for change. So I moved to New York, to California, then to Utah, then back to California, and then to Maine, All in the span of 20 years, I've lived in 13 different apartments, 2 condos, and now a home. Even when I got married and had a son, I never thought I would stay still. I imagined getting closer to the East Coast would, if anything, allow me and my family to travel and explore the world even more. I had a remote job already. I could Zoom for work, Zoom to Europe. We'd go to Spain with the kid in tow, work from the Champs-Élysées while waxing poetic over the ever-present nature of Foucault's work in media. And then the global pandemic hit. And then, we got stuck here in Maine. And just like that, I felt inertia take its hold. Not to autumn will I yield, not to winter, I heard ringing from my head. But I did. A whole year went by. It was hard. But then another year went by, but it didn't feel like inertia had me in its clutches. Without moving so much physically, I had time to recognize how much my family, myself, and my child were changing, adapting, and thriving. As I'm sure we all did, my family found ourselves challenging ourselves in new ways, engaging our friends, family, and community differently. While we weren't physically moving, it didn't mean that we had succumbed to emotional and spiritual inertia. What is home to me? I'm still not sure. I was always told that my wanderlust would dissipate as I got older. I'm not sure that's true. I still feel the call of William's song, but it's more of an existential one. It's there to remind myself that the emotional road I lead is just as unpredictable, exciting, and perhaps even more adventurous as the physical one. I'm sure I'll be able to travel again. But for now, in the words of Japanese poet Matsuo Basho, maybe the journey itself is my home. Now there's a life for a man like me.
Hello, my name is Joe Quinn, and I'm just going to offer a few thoughts on a couple of aspects of home. The first is home as a target, a goal, a place you home in on, like home plate, where homing pigeons go. It's not always a happy process or a moral one. Think of the Duke of Gloucester and Henry VI, Part 3. And yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home. And finally, as a place of last refuge, home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Robert Frost, Death of the Hired Hand. And then there is the thought of home as a feeling. There's no place like home. Home is where the heart is. Home is a place where you feel safe and secure. Home as a place where you belong. And finally, the idea that you know when you're in love, when you look in someone's face and you see home.